Hey everyone, happy couple day late solstice. Happy almost New Year's. Happy making it through 2020. Uh, it's really good to be here and be so close to the new year. Since I spoke with you all last, we've had a great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn at the first degree of Aquarius. And that means a lot of things to a lot of different people. If you are a cardinal heavy person, and that means if you have your sun, moon, or ascendant in Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you have been feeling the Saturn in Capricorn with Pluto and Jupiter um, extra especially hard this year. And I feel for you because I am one of those people. And so what it means, Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, is that they will no longer be squaring very important aspects of your chart. If this all sounds like mumble jumble and you have no idea what I'm talking about and you would like to learn more, I do chart readings, so please reach out if you're interested. So yeah, people with strong cardinal placements should feel a little bit of a break, should be able to breathe. But what it means collectively is I think we need to look back at what Saturn and Capricorn means, because Saturn rules Capricorn and Saturn also rules Aquarius, but it's a very different feeling. So Saturn and Capricorn brings up a lot of lessons to make us persevere. Sometimes he gives us heavy burdens, and it could feel like we're in a box, like we're confined. Saturn in Aquarius is also lessons to persevere, but it's less about being confined and more about persevering. Let's say if we're like in exile and we have to survive. Saturn in Aquarius is really living in our integrity and being able to provide for ourselves and to still stand strong in our individuality. So it's still Saturn, but it's a different kind of Saturn. It's we're outside the confines, but we may find that we don't fit in the group. And that's okay. We actually need more people to speak their mind, to speak out against what everyone accepts as normal if we don't think it's normal ourselves. So that's kind of what is coming, just to give you a little sample. To talk a little bit more about Saturn and Jupiter, I wrote down some notes. So Saturn meets Jupiter. They come together in an exact conjunction every 20 years. So it's 2020 now. The last time they were conjunct was in 2000. And the last time they were conjunct before that was 1980, and so on and so on. And it kind of starts a new cycle every 20 years. And you can kind of look back and there's like a theme. When Saturn and Jupiter come together, it's a lot of ways you can visibly see it is like how our government and structures are working. There seems to be a big, since we hit 2020 and moving forward, there seems to be, since Jupiter and Saturn came together on the solstice, I was thinking about this. There seems to be more realization that the way we've been operating over the last 28 years is not working. And this whole year has been about structures breaking down. And now we're moving forward into a time where new ideas will come up. Some may not be popular. New realizations will come to fruition. Some may be shocking. But there's going to be a lot of change in 2021. And I argue that we need that change. So the last 200 years, every time Jupiter and Saturn has come together, it has been in an earth sign. And earth signs are all about resources and material security and this earth plane. And now that Saturn and Jupiter has started their new 200-year cycle in Aquarius, they're going to only come together in air signs for the next every 20 years. So we just started a new cycle with that. And if that wasn't like big enough, it's been 800 years since Jupiter and Saturn have been conjunct this close to Earth and this visible in an air sign. So it's extra, extra special. You may have heard of the Christmas star and how some people think that the star of Bethlehem was actually Jupiter and Saturn. And so that happens every 800 years. So that's just a little interesting tidbit. So yeah, most of 2020 was wrapping up the end of the Jupiter-Saturn cycle that had started 20 years earlier. And now we're moving into a new phase. And whenever there's a big conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, it's been tied to Renaissance periods. So if you think about it, the Renaissance periods often come along after complete breakdown of, societies. And usually something bad happens, like war or famine or whatever, kind of like what we've just been through in 2020. And then along comes Renaissance. So I feel hopeful for that. And I think this conjunction is expansive and imaginative, and we'll be able to come up with new possibilities to change our structures and discipline. Those are Jupiter and Saturn words. So in this new era of air, there's going to be disruption to established orders and dramatic changes in the collective and our ideas and the way we think and in the way we communicate. And I can't even begin to think about what that's going to exactly mean, but that's what it will mean collectively for all of us, but it's also going to affect our individual charts. So if you do know your birth time and you know how to run your chart, you can look and see where your house of Aquarius is and what that means for you. So it could mean a lot of things depending what house it's in. So I would check that out if you're interested. And one thing I wanted to touch on, since it's almost a full moon, I'm recording this the day before the full moon in Cancer, is we actually started 2020 with a full moon in Cancer, and we are ending 2020 with a full moon in Cancer. We also had a new moon Cancer eclipse during the summer. So it's been a very heavy Cancer and Capricorn year. So this full moon is happening 8 degrees and 54 minutes in Cancer. So you can look at where that is in your chart. And directly opposing it is the sun in Capricorn at 8 degrees and 54 minutes. Happy Capricorn season. As the sun moves into Capricorn on the solstice, it marks the start of the winter, and also our days slowly becoming longer again. So yeah, Capricorn season to me, always happens in the beginning of winter, and we want to take the time to go quiet and go within, but it's actually a very busy time and a hard working time because of the holidays. As much as we want to chill with the holidays, we're always, working really hard to like cook dinner and get gifts and wrap gifts and make the house nice and tie up loose ends at work. And then the holidays are over, and then all of a sudden it's the New Year's, and we want to set our intentions and really think about where we're going in the new year. That's very Capricorn, like chronological steps of our next moves. So it's a really great time to slow the mind down and get into the body, and make lists. Yes, make resolutions on how you would move forward. And with this full moon, it's also a really great time to let things go, and because it's a full moon, and think about what you want to take into the new year, especially because this full moon, the moon is sextiling Uranus and the sun is trining Uranus. So it will be really easy to make changes that maybe weren't so easy in the past. And the Cancer moon is all about safety and security and family and home. And then it's opposing the sun in Capricorn, which is all about hard work and structures and institutions and our public personas. So there's a tension between our home life and our work life. And there's a tension between feeling secure and then also the institutions that we often look to make us feel secure. And we've been doing so much work between the Cancer and Capricorn axis because of all the eclipses that had happened the last 2 years in those signs, and the nodes of our collective destiny and past were passing through those signs. So this is kind of a wrap up of our final taste of Cancer and Capricorn for a little bit, because, you know, a lot of the big heavy hitter planets have moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius. The nodes are no longer in Cancer and Capricorn, but we're having this full moon, and the moon is also, and the sun are also squaring Chiron, which is our wounded healer planet. So because we've been working with Chiron and this Cancer and Capricorn energy for so long, and the moon and the sun are making really great aspects to Uranus, it's a really good time to break our patterns with our old wounds and like the stories we've told ourselves, and like wake up from that and move forward. It feels like a very powerful moon. So I hope that you take some time to set your intentions. And a couple other things I wanted to mention was Mars has been in Aries for 6 months, and in the beginning of January, he's going to finally move into Taurus. Again, if you were a cardinal placement, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, or Libra, if you have those strong placements, you're going to get a little bit of relief because Mars is not going to be squaring your important planets. And yeah, so he's going to be moving to Taurus. He will very quickly, I think on the 13th of January, make his final square to Saturn. But this is his 3rd square to Saturn. So you can look back in 2020 to see what this square may be wrapping up. So usually if there's 3 squares, usually that's the opening square is the first one, and it brings up an issue that has tension and needs to be resolved. The 2nd square kind of brings it to a head, and then the 3rd will bring it to closure. So it'll be interesting to see what that means. Again, look in your chart to see where your Taurus house is, to see where Mars is, your Aquarius house is, to see where Saturn and Jupiter is. Yeah, and then I don't know, I don't think there's anything, I mean, there's a ton of things happening, but those are all the biggies. And yeah, thanks so much for listening, and reach out if you want to know more about your own personal chart. And Happy New Year's, blessed solstice. So excited to be moving into this new Aquarian age with all of you. I don't think it's technically the Aquarian age yet, but we sure are going to feel a lot of what it means to have Aquarius energy. And again, what I'm really, really, really feeling with the Aquarius energy with Jupiter and Saturn there is that we have to live in our integrity. We have to be okay with being an individual, and if we don't agree with like what most people around us, or what we think most people around us agree with, we have to be comfortable with speaking out and being strong within ourselves, because we need that in the world now. We need free thinkers. We need people that are strong and not scared, and that make decisions out of love and stand in their integrity. This is a new time, and we no longer have to live in lack. And I feel so positive, but I think there's a lot more work to do. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Happy New Year.